My boyfriend threatened my abusive father. Now my friends and family are convinced he's bad for me. My father, Matt, and I have never gotten along well. In fact, he hates me. I'm the product of an affair my mother had years ago. He did forgive her, and as far I know, they've had a fine-ish relationship since my childhood was hell. My siblings got whatever they wanted. I didn't. Nothing I ever did was good enough. I'd constantly be berated and insulted, but never anything physical. All my past relationships also went downhill in part because of him. Due to all this, I moved out as soon as I turned 18 and went to minimum contact. It was minimal because I still loved my mom, so inevitably I'd sometimes get in contact with him. When I was 21, I met and fell in love with my current boyfriend. We lived together. The man has become my rock. He's helped build up my self-esteem and self-worth. He's caring, supportive, loving, handsome, and I find it difficult, if not impossible, to find any flaws. A thing I've noticed early on is that he never gets angry, even for things that would 100% piss off anyone else. He'll only get mildly annoyed. Say something like, "It can't be helped," or "Such is life." Apparently it's because he practices something called Taoism. Over the last 2 years, he's only met Matt a few times briefly, but he gets along with my mother and other relatives. Now, the weekend, 2 weeks back, my mother invited us to get together with the entire family to celebrate my older sister's 30th birthday. I immediately declined because I saw a horrible outcome. You see, a thing about Matt is that he only gets courage to really speak his mind when he has had a few drinks. It's mostly snarky remarks and pettiness. So given his history and the fact that I knew there'd be alcohol at this event, I did not want to be anywhere near that vicinity. However, my mother was super insistent, emphasizing how important it was to my sister that I'd be there. So with that, along with my boyfriend's assurance that he'll keep me safe if I wanted to go, regrettably, I caved. So we went. The first half was all right. I avoided that thing like the plague, and he stayed away from me. My sister and her husband looked so good and happy together. It was great to catch up with my grandparents and family members I haven't seen in a long time. While I was getting lost dancing in my boyfriend's arms and talking, I felt really good and was happy. After the dance though, my boyfriend excused himself and asked me if he could quickly go grab something from the car. I was a bit reluctant because we'd parked in a lot, quite a distance away. But, I figured since Matt hasn't pulled anything yet, he probably wouldn't do anything, so I let my boyfriend go as soon as he left. My mother and aunt approached me while Matt was kind of just lurking nearby. We talked about miscellaneous things, and I was gushing about my boyfriend. My mother started asking about marriage and future kids. None of my siblings or I had kids yet. That's when Matt, for the first time, opened his mouth. It would be good to finally have grandkids, even if they are from someone like you. I should have just ignored it like all the other times he said stuff about me. That was my mistake. I said something like, "Keep dreaming, old man. My children won't ever be near someone like you." He gave me this look and said, "What did you just say to me?" I responded with, "You heard me." Then he tried to start with his usual insults, but I cut him off. I don't know what got into me and if I was just tipsy or what, but for the first time I spoke up for myself. I laid into him about what a pathetic excuse for a father he was for treating me like he did my whole life. What a spineless, hypocritical loser he was for always spouting BS about forgiveness when he always treated me like garbage for something I couldn't control. He always liked to brag about what a better man he was for forgiving a cheating wife. Before I could say any more, he grabbed me by the shoulders and violently started shaking me while shouting in my face. "Who are you talking to?" he yelled. "You think you can talk to me like that? You're nothing. Nothing. Your mother should have unalived you before you were born." I burst into tears. Nobody was doing anything to help me. I don't know if they were in shock or what, but I was really scared about what this lunatic would do. That's when my boyfriend came back. "Matthew," he shouted. Everything went quiet. "What do you think you're doing?" Matt just froze. And before he could respond, my boyfriend continued. "Let go of her now, or I'll kill you." It's hard to describe, but the look of fury in his face and the coldness in his voice was really terrifying. Everyone there, including me, fully believed him. I don't know how, but it didn't come across like those fake threats people sometimes make. He told him he was going to kill him and he meant it. Matt looked about ready to poop himself. He dropped me like I was electrocuting him and slowly backed away with his hands up. He came up to Matt and got close to his ear. "Touch her like that ever again, and I'll break your kneecaps and make sure you eat through a tube for the rest of your life." Matt backed up some more. My boyfriend didn't even have a weapon or anything. At this point, he was just glaring at him. Then he looked at me and his face softened. He held out his hand and my own paralysis wore off. I ran into his arms sobbing all the way back to our place. He held me in bed as I asked him over and over again, why did he leave me? He just kept apologizing with tears in his eyes. I finally asked what was so important that he had to get from the car. He gave me a sad smile and reached into his pocket, pulling out a small box. I just said, yes, as I cried again. I was an emotional, sobbing mess, but I was so happy. Something good at least came out of that day. Now this is where things get a little crazy. For the next 2 weeks, my mother and other family members have been blasting my phone with messages concerned for my safety. You see, while they agreed that Matt was out of line, the situation has been twisted into my boyfriend being a psychopath. I told them he was not. Since then, there've been a bunch of failed interventions. They even got some of my friends involved and the police were even called once. Apparently no one can just switch personalities like that. My family all claimed that it was the real him and he'll hurt me eventually. The whole thing has been stressing me out, and I've had several breakdowns. I don't even have the energy to be happy about my engagement. Sometimes I've even been questioning it myself. Are they right? Will he hurt me? I've never seen him like that, and for a moment it did scare me as well. But for God's sake, he just saw his girlfriend get attacked by someone, and now that fact has just been slid under the rug and forgotten by everyone. My boyfriend even picked up on it and said he'd understand if I wanted us to take a break. I nearly broke down again and assured him he was the love of my life and I'd never leave him. But now I'm just so confused and can't think straight. The stress is killing me, and every time I question if everyone is right and I'm just seeing through rose-tinted glasses, the guilt starts crushing me. It's all just getting too heavy. What can I do? What advice can you all give me? Is there something I'm missing? Is everyone just gaslighting me? If I can just get some guidance, advice, anything really, I'd deeply appreciate it.